Time now for night court. On the docket tonight, a homeless shelter. There are residents there in Brooklyn now suing New York City and some food delivery companies after being sickened by what they say were rotten chicken salads. They say the expiration dates were falsified. Also, an environmentalist is suing ice cream maker Ben & Jerry's for claiming dairy used in their products comes exclusively from happy cows. Let's bring in tonight's Legal Eagles criminal defense attorney Bob Bianchi and Washington Times legal affairs reporter and lawyer Alex Sowyer. Great to have you both with us.
Hey, Shannon.
Okay, we're going to go with the Ben & Jerry's case first. Exhibit A. Bob, this is to you. In the complaint, they say by deceiving consumers about the true nature of the Ben & Jerry's products, Unilever is able to sell a greater volume of the products, to charge higher prices for the products, and to take away market share from competitors, thereby increasing its own sales and profits by claiming all these cows are happy.
Not buying it, Shannon. No good deed goes unpunished. This complainant is saying if you go to the website, it was deceptive because it made it look like all of this was from this program called Caring Dairy, which is a economically and ecologically, whatever, agriculturally good thing. What that program says is those farmers who agree and volunteer to be part of the program are compensated by the company, and that is not saying that all of the product is from those particular cows. So if you read the plain language on that website, the plaintiff is going to lose this case because he's stretching far too much what is in that advertisement. It's not deceptive at all.
All right, Alex, what about that? I mean, what obligation does Ben & Jerry's to have to tell us exactly which cows they're using, how happy they are, and how it impacts the product?
Right. Well, I will say that Ben & Jerry's actually did face a lawsuit brought by a D.C. nonprofit, and they did have to alter their website because they did claim that all farmers had to be part of this Caring Dairy program. And so there's already been one issue with their website, and there's also I think it's about a 1-minute video that does present that most of the dairy appears to come from, family farms and not these mass production factories, right, where these cows are injected with antibiotics. And so there is somewhat of a concern that you're presenting yourself as a clean company, environmentally friendly, free of animal cruelty, yet you're using most of the dairy from not these organically raised cattle.
Okay. Now, they say they don't comment on pending litigation, but they say it's about false advertising, but they say they're proud of the work they do and the farms they use. Okay, so now let's go to this case where a number of residents who are at a homeless shelter in Brooklyn say they ate this chicken that actually made them sick. Their attorney says, Exhibit C, intentionally falsifying a food expiration label, somebody did it, by covering it over with a label with false expiration date recklessly endangers the health of members of the public. Bob, they want $8 million.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get $8 million. It's getting sick is not worth anywhere near anything like that as far as damages are concerned. And the fact is they're suing the city, and I think they got a bad case. They've got a good case against the vendor who changed the labels. But how is the city responsible under a negligence standard? How are they supposed to know that this fraud was occurring with a business that they have been operating and working with for many, many years without incident? This is something that the city should not be held liable for, but the vendor should be. So the lawsuit against the city, Shannon, fails.
Okay, quickly, Exhibit D for you, Alex. I mean, the Department of Homeless Services there in New York City saying they're not going to tolerate anything that puts people at risk, and they've actually suspended the food provider in this case. Alex, your final argument.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We're all lawyers, and we know you try to get as many people on that complaint as you can. So there is a question about how liable the shelter might be in this rather than the vendor. But at the same time, grocery stores are responsible. They can be held strictly liable for selling products that had expired from other vendors, for example. So, I think this is going to be one to watch and see where it goes from here. But $8 million does sound quite high.
Okay, so we have the rotten chicken salad at the homeless shelter. We also have Ben & Jerry's and whether or not the cows are actually happy. Those are the two cases. You guys have made the arguments. We'll put it to the jury at home. Thank you very much to our Legal Eagles.
Thank you, Shannon.
Okay.